Okay, so your nervous system is not that special. It is not that unique. Even if you're neurodivergent, your nervous system works very similarly to a lot of people, most of the people's, and this can be used to our advantage. And if we want to make a world a better place, if we're socialists, communists, we need to utilize whatever tools are accessible to us in order to not only help ourselves, but to make ourselves more helpful to others. So a couple of weeks ago, I talked about various ways of regulating your nervous system, and I just briefly mentioned most of them. But today I'm going to do a little bit of an overview of some of the things that I've done personally and other people have told me about that I think can be pretty effective at regulating your nervous system. And going back to the beginning and my big statement about how everyone's nervous system works about the same, this is important to remember just because in the individualist societies we live today, we often succumb to this illusion that we are too special to be helped or too different to experience things that other people may experience, and we may deny certain things just because of this individualist myth. Now, I'm not denying differences between people. They do exist, and it is normal to have differences within the species. However, most of our nervous systems work very similarly. So the techniques that help calm the nervous system down are going to be very similar across the board for most people. There are things that are going to work. All kinds of practices that were used by indigenous people in the past and that are still practiced, unfortunately, are very much connected to the esoteric fields where people claim all kinds of outrageous spiritual things, which I don't stand behind. I'm not promoting any kind of spirituality type of an experience. What I have personally tried and what worked for me are just techniques that affect your nervous system, that help you activate or deactivate parasympathetic or sympathetic parts of your nervous system, and they work on a physical level. If you imagine reflexes, for example, if you tap your knee a certain way, it is going to react. So our nervous systems are, of course, much more complex, but just for the sake of ease, I'm going to stick with this little analogy. Your knee, if you haven't experienced any kind of an injury, is going to react the same as the knees of the vast majority of the people. So will your nervous system most likely respond to certain manipulations and certain techniques, certain things you do. So dancing, shaking, singing, screaming, all of these things have been practiced by people for millions of years, I would argue, and all of them activate something within us that help us calm down, feel better, and ultimately relate better to each other. So I personally love shaking and dancing routines. And I think I've shared that before. And this is something simple. This is something that can help boost your mood. If you're interested to learn more about shaking, you can look it up. There are a lot of people who offer all kinds of advice. I'm not going to provide any kind of specific instructions just because I find it easier for everyone to just look it up themselves. And also because it's going to look a little bit differently for everyone. But the analogy that I like to give to people when they wonder what shaking may look like, when you look at dogs and cats and the way they shake their head after something stressful happened to them, this is something that most mammals actually do, and humans probably did that too at some point of our history. However, I don't suggest we vigorously shake our head. I just suggest that you kind of go with the flow, maybe put on some music and see what kind of a movement arises. Listen to your body. Pay attention to what may feel good, and people usually are able to find their own shaking routine relatively easy. Of course, be careful, especially if you have problems with your joints or some muscles. Don't overexert yourself. Try to be careful, but usually you will feel when you're doing it right. But again, if you need more guidance, you can look it up. And there are tons of people who give all kinds of advice on how to shake properly, but I would argue there's no right or wrong way. If it feels good to your body, it helps you release stress, then do it. Same goes to dancing. I think that dancing is such a great, fun way to not only exercise, but also boost your mood and boost your morale. And if you have people you can dance with, please try that. I know that a lot of people feel uncomfortable dancing with others. They feel awkward. They feel kind of shy. But if you attempt it a few times, the worst that can happen is you're all gonna laugh at each other, and that's it. And this still may end up being a bonding experience for y'all. And I've danced with various groups of people, and it was always a very fun experience for everyone involved. I used to be absolutely against dancing with other people. I was so afraid of them judging me, and then I realized nobody cares, and I don't care much either about how other people dance. When you dance, you don't really have much time to look around and see what other people are doing. You kind of pay attention to yourself, your own movements. Again, be careful, don't overexert yourself, don't hurt yourself. Make sure that you have a safe space where there is enough space for everyone, or yourself if it's just you. Try not to hurt yourself against the furniture, or not to fall over, obviously, but try dancing. It not only it releases endorphins, it also helps calm your nervous system down greatly. And it's also a great way to exercise. Now, another thing that I greatly enjoy is a trampoline. This is a little bit more dangerous, so be careful. Look it up online, look at all the precautions that you should take, because you can really hurt yourself on a trampoline. We've all seen those photos and videos of people hurting themselves badly on a trampoline, but smaller trampolines like this should be pretty safe if you're not overly excited to use them. Jumping on a trampoline is very, very good at activating your body and making everything move and the blood flow to circulate. It's a great form of exercise. You can also do it with music. You can follow along with various tutorials on YouTube. I did it myself, but I prefer to come up with my own little routines, and you don't have to do much of it. Even 5-10 minutes can really help you regulate your nervous system. If you're a little bit more athletic, maybe 15-20 minutes or so. You don't have to do it every day, maybe a couple times a week. So if you do shaking, dancing, and a little bit of a trampoline, jumping, not only it's a great, easy, and fun exercise routine, it also helps you calm down and relate more to your own pain, to your psycho-emotional trauma. It can really help you process a lot of emotions. Screaming and singing are the other two types of activities I greatly recommend to people who have experienced childhood trauma specifically, because oftentimes we feel like we've not had a chance to express ourselves and to raise our voice for ourselves when we were traumatized, because most likely we were children. So I think screaming and singing is a great, great experience. Obviously, screaming may not be accessible to everyone. If you live with other people, they may be worried or you may disturb them. So if you're not able to find a place to safely scream, what I suggest is singing, and go into a karaoke room is a great pastime. You can do it on your own. You can just go during the week, during the day. If you have a chance to do that, that is a great experience, to just go alone and sing your heart out in this little karaoke room. No one's gonna hear you. No one's gonna care. It's not that expensive if you go during the day on a weekday. But if you want to do it with friends or other people, it is also a great bonding experience. You don't have to sing well. Again, most people, they don't care about how well you sing. If they care a lot about how well you sing or perform, these are probably not the type of people you want to hang out with, or probably you want to interrogate them as to why they think you should be a great performer in all areas. Otherwise, it is a wonderful experience to sing with other people. I've sang in so many karaokes with so many random strangers, and it was so fun. It helps you release so much of this tension and so much of this anxiety, and you feel so much better and so much more at ease after you do this. And the reason why I'm suggesting all of these activities is because it is a very stressful time to be alive. It is scary. People are becoming more and more anxious, and obviously everyone is so tired of looking at war happening all over the world and everything getting worse and worse because of capitalism. People are afraid of the cost of living crisis getting worse, which most likely it will. People are losing their jobs. People are still getting sick. It is terrible. It's a terrifying time. No matter whether you believe that capitalism is the root of all problems, you're still probably experiencing all that pain. So all of these simple things can really help you alleviate some of that pain. They're not going to get rid of all the problems. They're not a panacea. They're not a cure for all ills, but they're great, simple techniques that you can try incorporating into your daily life in order to help yourself. Because if you feel better, if you feel calmer, you're going to be able to organize more successfully with others. Let me know what you think. think. Let me know what kind of techniques you use personally. Consider supporting me on Patreon. Do take care of yourself and your community first, and I'll talk to you sometime later.